a scale of 1 to 10, how weird am I? You be the judge. Hey Dragonlings, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Sky. I'm a fantasy author who typically writes paranormal romance under the name SD Haggis, and today we're doing the Writers Are Weird tag. I've done a few tags in the past, and I do have a playlist of them. If you'd like to check them out, I will have them linked below. But I thought it'd be a fun idea to do this one because I've been seeing a lot of people do this particular tag, but I was not tagged by anyone in particular, and it's been around for a little bit. So if you see this and you haven't done this tag, feel free to consider yourself tagged if you would like to do it. But at the end of this video, I will also tag 3 people I would like to see actually do this particular tag. As an additional bonus, Emma Bennett has actually put together a playlist of everyone that she is aware of who has done this tag. So I will leave a link to both her channel and that playlist down in the comments as well. Not comments. Description. So with all of that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the questions. Question number 1. Do you have any bizarre internet searches? If so, what's the weirdest one? Okay, for this question, I have to be honest. Not all of my internet searches have been for writing stuff. Most of them have been. And in this particular case, please don't hate me. This is not for writing, unfortunately. And this was because I was having a conversation with someone, and bless their little heart. We were talking about, I had made a joke talking about a song I heard when I was a teenager, long before, you know how there's those internet memes that probably were not appropriate for kids, but kids saw kind of things. It was one of those things, and it was like this Muppet play version where these 2 Muppets were having a conversation with each other and started singing a song, and the song was called "The Internet is for Porn." And so I was talking to this person about that song, or I was talking to that person about something, and it made the song pop in my head, and so I sang a couple of lines from that particular song. Which led us down a rabbit hole of what kind of stuff exists. And I had to find out. We did not watch any. I just had to find out if it exists. I have no desire to watch any. Dolphins. With humans. Because we all know that bestiality is a thing. And I should have just been like, let my little brain be like, the internet exists. If you think it exists somewhere out there in the world. And let me just be for real. Yes, the fuck it does. No, I'm not including links in the description. Sorry. No. But yes, that was probably the weirdest thing I had to do a search for. And at this point, because it happened in real life, it is going to be a conversation in a book. I don't know how I'm going to use it, but it's probably going to come up as someone making a joke, just like it happened with me, and them doing like a little deep dive on whether or not it actually exists, because I have to at this point. But yeah, that's the weirdest thing I've had to search for that was not related to writing. As for internet searches that are related to writing, I think the weirdest thing, I usually look up like historical events and do research into that because I like to incorporate a bunch of historical things into my books. I've done Lost Colony, I have done the Salem Witch Trials. There's a couple other historical events that have happened that I have particularly drawn inspiration from or specifically put into my books. So I've had to do research about that, but the other thing I've had to do research for is like police procedurals to make sure that things that my characters are doing are legal, at least skirting around it so they don't get in trouble, or figure out a way to hide the fact that they've done some not necessarily legal things in order to make sure they don't get in trouble. So that has been the weirdest things as far as like what I've had to look up that was related to writing that I can think of off the top of my head. There's probably been weird things, but for real, for all honesty's sake, most of the time I'm looking up something, it's one of those things where I heard about it and I'm like, is this a real thing? Kind of thing. So, and that's not related to writing. Question number 2. Do you write people you know and dislike into your stories as villains or dumb people to kill off? I have mentioned a couple of times, either in vlogs or videos, I cannot remember which, the fact that the two main characters from the first two books of the Shifters and Mages series, in the first book it is Puck from Puck's Choice, in the second book it's Jenna from Jenna's Story. I have mentioned that they are, both of them, me. They are completely different characters. They are complete opposites of one another. Puck is more like me now. There are very big differences, but her overall characterization is me now. Whereas Jenna was me when I was their age and in high school as well. As far as other people, whether I like them or hate them, I might pull tidbits of their personalities here and there, but I don't want to get in trouble for using likenesses of people, that whether I know them in a good way or a bad way. And I don't really hate a lot of people. There are some people I just like, I don't vibe with, and I just don't like them necessarily. And so I'm like, you can stay over there. You can just stay over there. I'm okay over here. Yeah, we're good. Stay. But, and because of that, I don't want them in my stories. I don't want to remember them. I want to forget those kind of people. They are out of my life. I want them to stay out of my life. So I don't really like immortalizing them in the stories. And to be fair, I really don't want the kind of people that my villains are to be real life people. Like the things that my villains tend to do, and even some of my good guy characters who do a lot of morally gray things, like the wrong thing for the right reason kind of thing, even them, I don't necessarily want to know people like that in my real life. Like, I really don't. Like, you act that way in fiction, but do not it's kind of like how people, I compare it to like the people who read like stalker romance. They don't mind it in fiction, they love it in fiction, it's hot, whatever. They have no desire to have that in their real life kind of thing. That's how I compare it to the kind of people that I write as villains, and even some of the good guys. I don't want to necessarily know them in real life. And so the vice versa is true. I don't want to take attributes of people, or at least whole attributes of people that I know in real life, whether they're good people or bad people, and put them into stories. That just doesn't sound like a good idea to me. Number 3, does personal hygiene sometimes come second to writing? The answer to this is no. I have a strong sense of smell. To the point where, like, I get to the point where, like, if I can smell myself, even the hint, I'm like, ooh, did I put deodorant on today? Oh, no, I didn't. Let me go put some deodorant on. Or I can tell my hair is very oily. Like, I know it's actually not bad, but it's starting to get there. It's super dry down here, somewhat oily up here. Like, I know it's time to take a shower. And so, like, hygiene, no. Second to writing, no. Are there other factors that may affect that? Yeah, kind of currently. Right now, we are for those who don't know, I haul water to my property, and there is a break in the lines that we still haven't figured out where it is in order to fix it. We are still searching for said break, and so we are filling like 5-gallon jugs just to fill toilets and use for food cooking, and that's pretty much it. We take showers here in town at the Civic Center, and that's been our life for the past few weeks, almost going on 2 months now. So until we get the water line fixed, that's just gonna be our life. And so, like, will hygiene come second to writing? No. Will it come second to other things? Yes, unfortunately, at least until we have that water line fixed. I'm gonna be so happy to be able to take a hot shower in my own house. It's gonna be glorious. Question number 4. Do you go on baby name websites to help you name your characters? No, actually I do not. No, for the most part I do not. That being said, I do have a couple of apps on my phone that I use for names. Mostly I pull names from, like, when I watch movies. If I really am in need of a bunch of names, I'll watch the end credits and I'll pull some names I like from there. But for the most part, I use those apps if I don't have something in mind already. And then the other thing I do is I have a baby name book. I'll include a picture right here on the screen. It's old, it's ancient, but I use that so I don't get the internet searches asking when I'm due and stuff like that. Like, I don't want that in my internet searches. You know how Google pays attention to everything. And then if there's a name like I like the sound of, I will go Google that name to see its origins, like what it means and stuff like that. But for the most part, I don't look up, I don't go to baby name websites specifically to look for baby names. Usually when I'm at the baby name websites, I've already got a name in mind. I just need some more information about it. Number 5. Do you have a list of actors or actresses that would play your characters if there was an adaptation made? And the answer to this is no, I do not. I do not care what the characters look like for the most part. I do not care what ethnicity, hair color, eye color. I do not care. The thing I love about movies is that you are allowed to take creative licensing with them. And I am perfectly okay with them being a completely different piece of media. And then, so I don't care who gets cast as the characters as long as they portray those characters well. That being said, while I don't have any specific actors or actresses in mind, what I would love to see is that if my books were ever adapted into movies, rather than getting big name actors and actresses to play the characters, I would love some new blood, some new talent. Just so that if the movie did well, or TV show did well, that would be like, it would be so cool to hear an actor or actress, especially if they went on to do other big name things, to be like, yeah, I got my start on XYZ, which is based on the book by me. Like that to me is the best feeling. That when an actor or actress can go back and say, I got my start here. Or like, you know how when they say, when they introduce actors and actresses, they go best known for their portrayal of blank in blank. I want that accolade attached. So I do not care who is portraying the characters as much as like being able to hear them say something like that in the end. Number 6. Have you ever stared at a stranger because they look like one of your characters? No. I have actually not done that. That being said, I have accidentally stared at someone. I tend to go into a daze when I'm thinking about stories, and I accidentally found myself staring at someone because I went into a daze right around the same time that I was looking at them, trying to figure out why they looked familiar to me. Still could not figure it out, but it was because they reminded me of someone in real life. And then I went into a daze thinking about a story idea as my brain switched thoughts. Oops. So, I know I freaked out that person. I am so sorry. But as far as like staring at someone because I think they look like one of my characters, no, I have not ever done that. That would be cool to see someone who looks like one of my characters. But I don't know how I'd react in that case if I did see someone that looked like one of my characters. Would I probably stare? Yeah, I probably would. Might I get up the gumption to be like, hey, you look just like how I described this character in XYZ? Yeah, possibly. And I don't know. Question number 7. Do you talk to yourself to help work through scenes? If so, where do you talk to yourself? I'm trying to think if I actually talk to myself. I think I have a couple of times. There's this theory called rubber duck theory that coders used to use, where they would get a little rubber duck and put it on top of their computer monitors as they were working through like HTML code and stuff for computer programming. And what they would do is they would talk through the problem to the rubber duck, and it would help them figure out what the problem was. And I've done something similar to that, where I've just talked to inanimate objects gathered on my desk and treat them like the rubber duck. But as far as like talking specifically to myself, I guess I can say I have, because I do have a voice recorder app that I have on my phone. And if I get a random story idea, especially while I'm driving, I have it set up so that I can just do voice recognition and pull up that app and record my voice while I'm driving in order to get that idea out. So I guess I do talk to myself, but it's usually in the vehicle when I'm driving, and I just need to get that thought out before it's gone. Question number 8. While writing, do you make the expressions your characters are making? I didn't until recently. Recently I saw some TikToks where people were reenacting the expressions that the characters were making as they were reading, And that has made me wary of like what kind of ways I describe expressions. So like every once in a while, as I'm writing something, if it just sounds wonky to me, I will make the expression myself so that later a reader doesn't. And that's the only time. It's only been recently, within like past 2, maybe 3 years, I've done that. It hasn't been recent, but it's something I'm starting to do. Question number 9. Do you ever practice answering interview questions in case you make it big? I do not. I can't even think of what kind of questions would be asked of me. Of course, I know what I might answer for like the basic questions, but I'm going to forget whatever I practice. It doesn't matter if I practice 5 times or 100 million times. I'm going to forget my answers. I do not have a very good memory. I can't even remember what I had for breakfast the day before, so there's no way I'm going to remember a rehearsed question. So, no, there's no point in me wasting time practicing answering questions when I'm going to forget them anyways. And that's if I could even guess what the question might be. And the last question, question number 10. Do you have a soundtrack and or playlist for your books or scenes from your book? I do not have any playlists except for one that is for one book. That book was like a fan fiction of a fan fiction, and it's been bled into other playlists now, so it's not even accurate anymore. I do need to fix it. But the way I was working on that story was, as I was listening to music, I would hear specific songs. I'd be like, oh, that song would work for this scene in this story. And so I created a playlist, so anytime I heard a song for that particular story that would work with that particular scene, I would throw that song over there. So like, it's an enemies to lovers, about a warlock that's paired up with a detective. The detective hates warlocks. No real reason why. Very prejudiced against them. And the warlock is being punished, and so is the detective, honestly, to work with each other. And they do form a romantic relationship with each other. So what I was doing was basically, if I would hear a song that would remind me of any kind of scene that might occur between these two characters throughout the story, I was adding that to that playlist. Again, that playlist has gotten muddled up with other songs because I was accidentally adding songs to that list without even realizing I was adding songs to that list that do not coincide with the story, but c'est la vie. That is the only story I've done that for, though. I have never done that with any other story. I can't, because I tend to listen to more soundtracks and like lo-fi music while writing. I don't know how to make a playlist for my books. I don't know where to even start. I have such a wide range of music. You would think it would be easy, but the truth is, no, it's not for me, at least. I really applaud those who can do that, though, because I think that would be so cool if like I could pick a song for like, say, every chapter of the book that would like coincide with the theme of the book. And I especially like when I'm reading webtoons and there's music playing in the background of the episode I'm reading, and then at the bottom it's like, this chapter's music is brought to you by, and it names an artist, and it's an original music written for that webtoon. I think that kind of stuff would be amazing. I just don't have that talent, so I will leave it to other people who do. Okay, everyone, that's all I have for you guys today. That was the Writers Are Weird tag. Let me know what you guys think and how weird I am. I am going to tag 3 different authortubers. I am going to tag Randy from The Dark Project. I'm going to tag Raven from The Eccentric Raven, and I'm going to tag Angel from Angel Fae Writer. These are 3 smaller channels, but I haven't seen them do this tag yet, so I'm going to encourage them to do so. You do not have to feel pressured to do so if you do not want to. If you have made it this far in the video, feel free to leave me a crazy or zany emoji in the comments section. And my question for you today is, have you done this tag? If you have, feel free to drop a comment with a link to your video so I can go and watch your answers. And if you have not done this tag yet, but you want to, consider yourself tagged. I will have all of the questions, all 10 questions, in the description below. But that's all I have for you guys today, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, dragonlings.